More now on the crisis facing the hospital system in New South Wales. Westmead and Blacktown hospitals forced to establish emergency triage units after being overwhelmed with surging cases of COVID.
Let's bring in Dr Priya Nair, the Director of Intensive Care at St Vincent's Hospital in Sydney. Doctor, thanks for your time this morning. How is your ICU holding up?
Morning, Ali. Carl. Yeah, it is a busy and challenging time, but we're holding up okay. Yes, things are going all right.
Westmead and Blacktown hospitals are really struggling to cope at the moment. Is that situation for them and for you, is it going to get more challenging in the weeks ahead, do you think?
Look, the load seems to be moving around, and as you said, Western and Southwest Sydney are seeing the brunt of the load at the moment. We still have capacity and we're helping out those departments. So when they need to move patients across, we're moving them across this side of town. So we're spreading the load, and it seems like that's what's going to happen over the next few weeks.
It does seem like our hospitals are certainly across it. I know you're prepared this time round, but I think we were all shocked last night when we saw those harrowing messages from patients in ICU. One of them is 30-year-old single mum Ramona. Take a listen.
This is real, and this is for, Australia, the whole of Australia. All I can think about is my children.
I mean, Doctor, this is what you're dealing with day in, day out. It's heartbreaking. Those messages, they send a really powerful message, don't they?
Absolutely, they do.
And is that what you're seeing in your ICU?
Yes, we're seeing this time around a lot of younger patients in the ICU. About a third to a quarter of patients are under the age of 40 and certainly suffering from quite severe disease. So it's what we see day in and day out these days.
It must be incredibly difficult for your staff. I mean, you have a serious case loading here. You know that if a staff member is exposed, that you've got to get new staff members. We know a lot aren't there because they've got to go into quarantine on their own isolation. You have staff members dealing with high emotions. How is everyone holding up?
We've got a good team and we really support each other. Clearly, everyone has their bad days or times when they're anxious. And I think it's really important to stick together. And in a way, the crisis brings people together. And we've had a long time to plan this, as you said, so we've been able to sit together, and I think that has brought us closer as a team. And certainly we make sure that we support each other and see what's going on, check in with each other.
Yeah, I mean, not only are you trying to navigate a pandemic, you've also got your normal workload or caseload on top of that. Hey, look, we just heard from the president of the Australian Medical Association for New South Wales. She's concerned about easing restrictions too soon, these freedoms that the Premier is promising this week. Do you have any concerns there about the impact that's going to have on you and your staff and ICU units?
Look, we don't know what those release of restrictions are yet, and certainly I'm not an expert in that area. So we look after patients who come through ICU, so I don't feel like I could comment on that. But certainly it's something we'd be watching and, if necessary, provide advice.
Doctor, finally, there are people out there, and we get inundated every day by various people who say this COVID isn't real, it's made up. How would you respond?
Definitely not true. It's just when you see, it's heartbreaking to see patients who were previously well being just so critically unwell and fighting for their lives in intensive care, some on ventilators, some on heart-lung machines. It is a real thing and it's serious. And that's why we keep saying just get vaccinated, stay at home. It's just so important to get on top of this.
Good message.
Message there from the front line, someone dealing with it day in, day out. Doctor, thank you so much for your time this morning and the work you do.
Go well, Doctor. Thank you.